Donald Trump is telling us what he plans to do if Republicans lose the midterms. And rather than doing what some on the left and some on the right did 3 elections in a row, which is go, oh, it's bluster. Trump just talks about a lot of things, but he doesn't try to do them. Here's my suggestion. Let's believe Trump when he tells us what he's planning to do. His speech last week about supposed election fraud was another deranged attempt to relitigate 2020, yes. But Trump was doing something that I think is a lot more dangerous, which is he's preparing tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of Americans to say, hey, you know what? We've got to reject the results of that election. The election hasn't even happened yet, but he wants millions of Americans to go, I already don't trust the election results. Now, if you analyze the speech factually, of course, it's filled with lies. He makes claims about voting machines that aren't true. He makes claims about vote by mail that aren't true. He makes claims about non-citizen voting, foreign interference, dead people voting. You could just go, listen, I'll fact check. It's going to be a very cold, sober process. I fact check each claim. This was a lie. This was a lie. This was a lie. There's value to that. But if we spend all of our time correcting each lie individually, there's the risk that we miss what the lies are designed to accomplish together, which is Trump wants to build a narrative in advance where he declares that American election systems fundamentally are corrupt and untrustworthy. He removes the independent officials responsible for protecting those systems. We talked about that already. He's messing with it at the state level, but he also had this election commission that he completely cleared out last week. We reported that. A lot of people haven't been reporting that. And then number 3, wherever he can, he replaces all of these election officials with people willing to support his version of reality. And finally, you impose these demands on states because remember, states are the ones that administer the elections. So having done all that, if Republicans appear to lose in November, meaning they lose, you can point to the distrust that Trump created as proof that this election was stolen right out from under you. We know that Trump would do this for 2 reasons. He tried to do it in 2020 and failed to get away with it. But also, Reuters has been reporting extensively about this. And Reuters reports that the Trump administration spent more than a year scrutinizing the Election Assistance Commission over how they handled 2020. And that, just as a reminder, we talked about this a little last week, the EAC, the Election Assistance Commission, it's this small, deliberately bipartisan federal agency. They help states administer secure elections. It's seemingly boring stuff. We make standards for voting systems. We distribute funding. We provide resources to local election officials. Trump fired its 2 remaining Democratic commissioners. Its Republican commissioners resigned. And so the agency is empty before an election that we're worried about, and you empty out the election commission. Now, the administration says we're considering replacements with other people. Lo and behold, those people would be completely aligned with Trump's election agenda, including putting people on the commission who promote Trump's lies about 2020. So what Trump is doing is yelling, we can't trust our elections, but at the same time, we have an agency designed to strengthen trust in our elections, and Trump's like, I'm going to dismantle that too. That combination really tells us a story. Now, I think it's also relevant to remember, this doesn't mean Trump can personally change millions of votes. He can't order states to declare Republicans winners when Republicans lost. The election is still decentralized. States run their elections, governors and courts and secretaries of state. Those local officials all have roles in the election. But the danger is Trump constructing this pretext where an unfavorable result is rejected. And we know from 2020 and the number of people that still believe that crap, he doesn't need to prove the election is stolen. He just needs to generate enough confusion and fear and get people really angry so that millions of supporters believe it, and then put enough pressure on Republican officials so that they will be afraid to contradict Trump. The timing of all of this is so illuminating. Imagine a different scenario. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. Imagine a scenario where we had just discovered incontrovertible evidence of voter fraud. And then the president comes out and says, we can never allow this to happen again. And here's the list of stuff I'm going to do. We might say, oh, all right, well, listen, We've got the proof of the fraud. Something must be done. Trump is doing that, but with no proof of the fraud. And so it's a pretext. And that is how you prepare supporters to interpret only a single outcome as legitimate. If you won, it was a legitimate win. Anything else, it was fraud. And Trump learned this back from 2020 when there were officials back in 2020, Republican officials, who rejected Trump lies. And some Republicans eventually refused to help him overturn the result. Now, some were willing to. You had these fake slates of electors. But the point is, Trump learned even some of these Republicans might get in my way. So he's just trying to get rid of those obstacles. And if we go back to that speech from a few days ago, at the end of the day, it wasn't about what happened 6 years ago. It was a warning about what Trump is preparing to do this November. Can we fix every single issue that Trump may try to create? I hope so. There's really good lawyers. Mark Elias's firm and others are working on it. But the best defense may be a good offense. And that offense is winning so big that it's too big to rig. We can control that. A lot of this other stuff is courts, lawyers, litigation. But we can go out and win it so bigly that they can't rig it. I think that that's the best solution here.